Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm going to talk about big versus small in terms of living arrangement in a vehicle. Now, of course, as most of you know, currently living in a Chevy High Top Express 1 ton 3500. The thing is huge. I mean, it feels huge. Some people would say it's small. I mean, compared to a Class C, it is small. But as I've said before, there's a lot of space in there I'm not using. I mean, I had plans to put cupboards in and all this stuff, and I don't need them. I don't have enough stuff to put in them. I got my clothes in a duffel bag under the bed, and I got a milk crate of tools under the bed. I got my food in a drawer, and I have the stuff that I need along the counter, like toothpaste, toothbrush, cookware, stuff like that. What else do you need? So when I made the last video, Hans Netten, fellow YouTube creator, go check out his channel. He's got some good stuff. He mentioned about how there's something to be said for having space, just as a kind of like a mental. What's the word I want to use? Mental space. But Hans Netten had a really good point about how it's nice to have space just to live and not be cramped up in a little corner. And there's something to be said for that for sure. However, being the thrifty guy that I am, wink wink nudge nudge, I don't want to be driving a big huge van just for the privilege, you might say, of having all that space, especially when I'm not in the van most of the time. So, small van versus big van. Well, I'm not living in my Transit Connect yet. I still have lots of work to do. I'm hoping to be in here by February at some point. That's my goal. I have some time off in December, and I'm hoping to get a lot of work done then. And we'll see how it goes, But that's the goal, to be in here in February. Being as it's a small van, it's going a lot faster, and I'm trying not to be so picky about stuff, because really, ultimately, who's going to really see it? Yeah, I'll do a van tour and put on YouTube, of course, but I'm the guy who's going to be looking at it most of the time, so it really doesn't matter that much. If it's just, it's not a show home, let's just put it that way. Anywho, so small van versus big van. Advantages of a small van. Of course, you're going to save on gas. On my old van, on my Chevy Express, the thing was a gas hog. I'd spend probably $100 every 2 weeks or a week and a half. And that would get me about 350 kilometers. So it ends up being I'm spending between minimum of $200 a month, sometimes close to $300 a month. In this van, the Connect, I'm spending $47 will fill it up all the way. And in fact, last time it was 38, but I still have some gas in the tank. So say 47, and that will get me 540 kilometers. There's a really cool feature on this where it tells you how many more kilometers you have until you're on empty. So I really like that. It's like this newfangled technology. So miles a gallon, you're saving a lot of money driving a small van, and that's one of the major advantages. And as I've said before, one of the reasons I wanted to go to the small van is because I want to be more active and do more stuff. That means driving more. And I also will be getting a new job next year, if everything goes to plan. And when I do, I'll be driving a lot more as well, because I'll be on call for the first 3 to 6 months. And I still got to go to my ex-wife's. No matter what happens, I'll be going there 3 days a week. In the mornings, like I'll sleep there overnight and get up at 6 in the morning. Sleep in her visitor's parking lot. condos, visitor parking lot. Gonna have some coffee. So we talked about miles per gallon. It's going to save a lot of money. I'll save between a minimum of $200 a month, perhaps $300. Because if I was taking my big express and driving it out everywhere, I would be spending minimum of $400 a month in gas. And I expect that, even with the Connect, if I fill it up twice a month, that'll be like less than $100, and that'll be over 1,000 kilometers. And I highly doubt I drive that much a month. Averaging right now about 350 to 400. And it's interesting because, yes, I'm paying insurance on 2 vehicles right now, but I'm kind of breaking even because I'm not driving the Express hardly at all. I'm only driving it when I need to go to work in the morning. Within that 10-minute commute, I'm going back and forth between where I park and where I work. So I'm saving gas by not driving it nearly as much, and I'm driving the Connect more. When I have a night off, what I do is I go and work on the van or drive the Connect. So the other day, on my comment section, this lady said that I'm a procrastinator and that I lack drive. And I don't understand how a person would get that sense, because I'm working my butt off on this thing. I mean, every day that I have a spare moment, unless I have plans with friends, which really isn't that often, to be dead honest, I'm working on the van. I'm either at work, I have my kids, or I'm working on the van. That's 90% of the time. So, I am not procrastinating. Now, my old van, little update, I'm not working on the old van right now. I'm spending all my time on the new van. The old van, the Express, is 90% finished. I'm not going to build cupboards. I'm just going to put up some tongue and groove to cover up the parts to make it look nice, so that when I sell it, it's going to be presentable. So you have the miles per gallon. The other issue, of course, is space. Talked about that a little bit. With a small van, you have to be very organized. And you really have to be a minimalist. I can't see it any other way. And to be honest, I am a little bit, not freaked out, but I'm a little bit wondering if I'm going to be able to do this in this small van, because even being a minimalist is small, and there isn't a lot of room. Like, we're talking 10 feet. No, not 10 feet. We're talking 6 feet by 4 feet. That's essentially the amount of floor space there is. That is it. Not including the wheel wells. The wheel well area will give you an extra 4.75 inches on both sides. So you can use that for shelving and stuff, which is what I plan to do. So it's small. So you really do have to be a minimalist. And seeing as how I'm a bass player, and that is my number one hobby, I mean, I love playing music, and I'm not going to give it up to live in a van. I need to have my bass cab in here, and it takes up a lot of room, even though it's a small bass cab. So that's a challenge, and I'm working on it, and I think it's going to be okay, but it does take some creativity. So space is definitely a concern. And it needs to be thought through very carefully. Watching Into the Mystery 13, and he's thinking of getting a different vehicle because he wants more space, and I can understand that. It needs to his own and everything. But that Astro is significantly bigger than my van, and I know that he could definitely do it if he so wanted to, by just having a smart design. Like, you got to have it so the bed's on the side and the shelving's on the left or the right or whatever, and then you leave yourself space. Otherwise, you can't just be moving stuff all the time, and I got to move my bed to get to the fridge, and no, man. It's got to be made convenient so that everything's accessible. And that means really you got to have personal items kept to a minimum. Anyway, I've kind of talked about that already. So I wish him the best of luck, but there are a lot of people that live in Astros or Safaris that size of a van, and they're quite happy doing it. So other things to consider when you're talking about big van versus small van: heating and cooling. In a small van, I mean, I'm going to be, it's definitely something to think about with regards heating, because in my big van, my heater at 1600 BTUs, my Wave 3, is barely doing it at around 3 or 4 Celsius. It's fine. I have it on low all night. I wake up and it's a little bit chilly, and then I turn my heat on to maximum while I'm getting ready, and I'm sitting right by the heater while I'm washing up and stuff. And it's okay. Now, if it gets to -2 or -3, it might be a little bit uncomfortable. But I still have the roof vent all the way open, and there's a lot of space in there that needs to be heated. In the Connect, that's going to be completely different. And placing where I'm going to place the heater, I'm thinking one possibility is I could even put the heater fairly close to my max air vent, and then a lot of the heat's going to go right out the roof. Because my concern in this van is I'm going to have too much heat. I do want the heat on all night. I don't want to be waking up cold in the night, and no. I want to be comfortable. So that means my working goal is to have the heat on all night, and that to me is essential. I know I can do it. It's just it might take a little bit of experimenting to work things out. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is with the Max Air fan, and having the thermostat set at, I think it automatically set at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. If it gets to that heat level, temperature, the fan will turn on and it'll exhaust the air out. Now, if anybody has a Max Air fan and you know about that feature, I've been trying to read about it online. I get little bits and pieces, but if anybody can expand on that, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Another thing with big versus small, I really like driving this Connect a lot more than my Express. It's so much easier to park, and I feel like it's just like driving a car. I don't have to worry about, like, in the city, I'm in parking lot, mall parking lot, whatever. With the big Express, I have to do like a 4-point turn to get the thing in there. And then you got to check your mirrors to make sure you're giving other people room, and it can be challenging. It's not the end of the world, but it is certainly much more convenient just to have the Connect and just pull into the spot. I'm good to go. I got lots of room. Everybody has lots of room around me. So that's a big plus of the small van, and it makes a difference to your quality of life, believe it or not. Another advantage of the small van, I can park an underground parking no problem. If it's really cold, you could even try to park under there overnight, or like at a hospital parkade or something like that. Or really hot. If it's really hot, the temperature in those parkades is always lower. So that's a nice feature as well. So the biggest advantage, of course, of the larger van is that you have way more space. And if you're kind of a person who has a lot of stuff to be happy, a bigger van is definitely a better choice. But if you can get away with owning less, a small van has a lot of advantages. So if I was the kind of person who lived in my van and spent a number of hours a day in the van every day, I would want a bigger van. But because I'm not that kind of person, and I'm forcing myself to stay out of the van, be more social, get more active, I don't need to have a big huge van that I'm not in most of the time. Anyways, to summarize, there are a number of pros and cons versus living in a small van versus living in a big van. It's cheaper to live in a small van, but it's more comfortable to live in a big van. If you're a minimalist, small van has got a lot of attractive options. But if you need a lot of stuff, a bigger van might be more attractive. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good night.